Winter is here. It is really our first significant snowfall of the season. Really good amount of snow is falling in the mountains. But nonetheless, welcome to Idaho, folks.
Winter in Idaho. It's not something we take lightly. These little snowflakes add up to big problems if you're not careful, and depending on the storm, things can get dangerous quickly. However, that's not what happened on this trip. Not even close. If you've watched our videos, you've probably seen my gang of knucklehead friends who venture out with us from time to time. These are sacred guide trips that no schedule conflict, other commitments, or weather forecasts are ever supposed to derail. However, our good buddy JP had a basketball game. Our resident disco lover Tim had a work thing. Our fearless pilot Ryan couldn't get out of the house. And the manliest Tundra driver of all time, Lance, didn't like the weather forecast. So, that left just me and Chris to brave the elements by ourselves. Chris and I are not winter camping experts, but we were both born and raised here, so we're not strangers to winter conditions either. The forecast was calling for up to 60 inches of snow in the mountains and up to 12 inches in the valley. We'd watched the forecast on the radars very closely and could see that the storm was moving in on Saturday morning. So our plan was to find an epic location for Friday night that was relatively low in elevation just in case the storm came early. We headed straight for a spot we call the Perch. And as we crested the hill where the road runs close to the river, we were blessed with the views we were hoping for. We had the South Fork running below us, and the Danskin, the Trinity, and Boise mountains all around us. It made for a magical-looking winter wonderland. The Perch sits a few hundred feet above the river at a bend in the road, and while it's not as secluded as we sometimes like, it sure has the views we look for. The air was still all around us. It was as if we were camping on the edge of a storm, when all is calm for a bit, right before the weather sets in. Okay, we just got to camp. We're just kind of specking out where to put the rigs. I think I got the Jeep relatively level, and Chris is just gonna move the truck around so it can kind of back up to the Jeep and we can have a little more flat space with that tailgate. But man, this is just such an incredible view. It is beautiful in the winter, and it's just gonna get even more beautiful if it snows more. But we are so blessed to be able to come here and see this place. We've been here before. We've driven by it many times. We've never been here in the winter. We picked this place because it's still relatively low elevation. It's about 3,300 feet here. And with the storm coming in, we know we're going to get some snow, but the lower we are, the better in terms of just snow accumulation. So anyway, we're going to first order business is get the rigs set up, get the tent set up so it's not too cold when we set that thing up, get a fire going, and then we'll start thinking about dinner. So I'm using the pop-up fire pit because it's portable, it's dry, it's really easy to set up, and it doesn't have as much smoke and it burns hot. And look at this location. This is what I love about having it. You can put your fire pit anywhere you want. So we chose to put it right on the edge. I mean, why not? Let's just do this. Let's just have a fire right on the edge of a cliff. Heck yeah. Oh. There you go. With the fire going, we settled in and enjoyed the still air of the evening. And we may have also enjoyed some local Idaho whiskey from Koenig Distillery to keep us warm, before climbing up into the tent and wondering if the storm would hit during the night. The morning brought no change in weather. We woke up wondering where the storm was, if we had missed it or if it was just late. Chris got the fire going while I made coffee with the water we'd made sure to insulate overnight to keep from freezing. After a hot cup of joe and a warm-up by the fire, we packed up and decided to stay ahead of the storm. Okay, we're just about ready to hit it. Our plan is to drive back down to the interstate, cross over into some BLM land, and make our trek over to the canyon rim of the Snake River. So the forecast is still calling for a bunch of snow, but it's gonna come in a little bit later in the day. So here we go. We're gonna mount up, enjoy the drive back down, and see what we can find getting over to the canyon rim. I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. Well, we're heading down the mountain, and the roads are really snowy. They're pretty slick, so we're going slow. And I've got the Jeep in four-wheel high, and I'm aired down to 17 PSI, and so it's really not a problem as long as we are driving relatively slow and not trying to put any G-force on the curves. But I really haven't lost much traction. I can tell that it's pretty slick though if I push it. So we're heading down, and we're gonna get down back to pavement for a sec and then reassess our route. Okay, we're doing a snack swap. Hold on, just do it from right there. I'm gonna give Chris my beef jerky because I've eaten a lot. He's gonna give me his pistachios. Can you throw those?
It's gonna be tricky.
Okay, I'm gonna throw mine. Get ready. 1, 2, 3. Yes! Hey, my pistachios! So I've got to get out and get these pistachios from Chris.
Ready?
And he's gonna throw them in my mouth. Ow! So we're gonna continue with the plan, which is to head back down to the bottom of the valley and then try to find our way over to the river, which will be a little bit lower elevation, and give us some great views and hopefully have some fun watching the snowfall or rain. We'll see, maybe it'll be too low, but that's our plan. For those of you who don't know, the Boise area sits in what is called the Treasure Valley. This is a massive basin area that sits between multiple mountain ranges with rivers and streams running through it. Chris and I were now attempting to cross the valley floor on a section of BLM land that no one really visits. It's used for some military training, has some scattered ranches and protected natural areas, but is mostly just, well, a wasteland between the Boise Mountains and the Idaho Mountains. It has since become known to Chris and I as just the wasteland. Wayfinding out here was difficult. With the low ceiling of the clouds, it was hard to tell which direction we were going without looking at my Gaia GPS. There aren't any direct routes from one point to another, so we wound up crisscrossing back and forth looking for roads that, in some cases, didn't exist. The roads that we did find were super variable. Some were smooth, some were rocky, others were rutted out. It was a route that really made me appreciate my big tires and my AEV suspension. The storm was threatening us as we crossed the wasteland. We had flurries, wind, and poor visibility, and we fully expected to get dumped on while making this crossing. But it never happened. About halfway across the wasteland, there was a break in the clouds. No more snow on the trail, and we could see the Owyhee sitting just beyond the Snake River, which was our target. So we managed to connect a few roads and did our best to beeline for the river. The wind from the incoming storm front made staying on the canyon rim impossible, so we slipped down the side of the canyon near Swan Falls Dam and searched for a spot along the Snake River. We did not find the infamous snowstorm that we were looking for, though.
No, there was a lot of build up to that. There was a lot of winter storms warning, a lot of people cautioning us about going out, and we did see some flurries, but yeah, I'm not really worried about the snow, just kind of looking around at the clouds and stuff.
It's pretty mild, actually.
Yeah, it's like 45, it was 45 degrees, so a little bit cooler now, but not by much.
So not only did we outrun the storm, we basically totally avoided it. Setting up camp was a little windy, but otherwise pretty tame. We now had to figure out what to do with ourselves. There was no more danger that we could sense. Just an awesome campsite along the river with no one around. So we naturally decided it was time to make cocktails and goof around for a bit. Okay, it's cocktail time. I'm a little sad the guys aren't here, but it's kind of nice, just you and me, man.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever been just you and me.
No. Sorry, not sorry for making the hug skit. It was a ton of fun, and there's nothing wrong with a cocktail and a good old hug. Anyway, we soon turn our attention to dinner, which Chris was making this evening. Tell us what you're making for dinner tonight.
So about a year ago, when we did our garbage trip, I did Cornish game hens, and so I kind of decided that, you know what, that would be kind of a guy's trip thing. So I'm doing Cornish game hens again.
If you want to try this recipe, just get the hen, wrap it in foil with your favorite oils and herbs, then put it next to a hot fire, rotating every 5 minutes for about 45 minutes. Let it set for a few more minutes, and the result is out of this world. Okay, here's dinner. We got these delicious looking game hens with a fantastic wine, which is Hell's Canyon. Seven Devil's Red from 2016. If you know anything about Idaho wine, 2016 was a very good year. So we are eating and drinking well tonight. At dinner, the goofing around never really stopped, but we decided we could only embarrass ourselves so much in one video. So you'll have to watch the next video for more shenanigans from the guys. The next morning was just as crazy as the rest of this trip in that it felt like we woke up in a different season. I'm not kidding. It was as if we fast forwarded from December to early April. The sun was bright and warm, the sky was blue, and we decided to just slow down and soak it all in. Morning. This morning we are going to enjoy this canyon a little bit on our drive out because it's a really cool place. So we're going to go down to the dam to air up, and so we're just going to explore that a little bit because I think Idaho Power is the company that owns the dam and the company that owns kind of the park area around it, and they've just went through relatively recently and kind of remodeled it. So we're going to go check it out, air up there, and just enjoy the drive out because these things, this canyon is something else. This basalt rock is so pretty, especially when the sunlight hits it and you can see all the different kinds of rock that are in there and the different striations and all that stuff. So lucky to be here. As much as we wanted to winter camp, as much as we ran from the storm to keep from getting in a bad situation, as much as we were bummed the guys bailed on the trip, If hanging out and goofing off with your best buddy for a few days is the worst thing that happens, well, that's still a pretty good trip. By the way, that winter storm did arrive. It was just a few days late, and it was massive. We watched it while sitting inside by the fire, drinking bourbon. Not a bad day.